in beautiful Neptune, New Jersey. And we had one awesome guest earlier. We're going to top that today. My very good friend, role model, inspiration. Oh my goodness, I can't say enough good things about Allison Watts. And man, talk about long distance. We are talking to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Allison's a model of resilience, an incredible dentist, an incredibly accomplished human being. And we're going to talk today about a subject that is critically important to all of us as we emerge from the belly of the beast. Allison, we've spoken, but we've not met face to face.
True. I feel like I know you so well, like it feels like we have.
Same here, and
it also feels like it doesn't matter, but we shall one day.
We will give a non-infectious hug at some point, hopefully very, very soon, somewhere between the Jersey Shore and Costa Rica.
Correct.
I would hope. Allison, welcome. It's great to see you. It's great to have the opportunity to listen to you. By the way, I know a lot of your fans are here and a lot of people who know or know of Allison. So if at any time during this you've got a question, please type it in and put your name in after your comment, because I can't see who it is. Somebody said, "What's up, Alan? We're doing all right, but we're going to be doing even better in an hour." Allison, resilience and wellness. Boy, do we need that more than ever. Start, if you would, with your story, because it's one that astounds me.
Oh, I would love to. I would love to. So first, I'll just say, yes, I live in Costa Rica now. I'm here. Hold on just a second. Lost my headphone. I'm here with my husband and my son, and my daughter is back in Texas. And I am coaching full time, but I'll go back to the beginning of how I got into dentistry and how I got where I am today. I think it's all going to have some value to this topic and everything, and add some depth to why I am where I am and why I share what I share. So at 11 years old, I promise not to make this the long version. At 11 years old, first, at 10 years old, I found out I was adopted. I think at 10 years old, when I found out I was adopted, I was on a pretty shaky foundation of self-esteem already. I wasn't feeling very grounded and okay with who I was. So that happened a year before. And then at 11 years old, I went to the orthodontist. And, I was not prepared for what happened at the orthodontist. I was expecting, like all my friends, to find out I needed braces, and my teeth were a little crooked and, so I already knew what was going to happen. And what actually happened was quite different. Now, granted, I know I can see now the lens that I was looking through and how that created this experience, but I'll try to paint for you a picture of what happened. To me, as a kid, I don't know if anybody's ever gone back to their family home and you realize like it's not as big as you think it is, right?
Yeah.
So to me, these images of my face were the size of an entire wall. And, orthodontists were really good. I don't know how long ago, but they've always used photos, to do case presentations. So, I mean, this had to be, this was 40 years ago.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there with my parents, and God knows why I'm in the room, because he didn't talk to me. He talked about me. So it was kind of like I wasn't even there. But he showed these giant pictures of me from every angle, and pointed out everything that was wrong with me. I mean, so I had a really long face. I mean, I don't know. I guess most of your audience is probably dentists, but I have my skeletal growth was an issue. Not just my crooked teeth, but I had a very gummy smile, a very long face, retrognathic, TMJ issues, and he just pointed out all this stuff. And what soaked in for me that day was not only is something wrong with me, like I already kind of had this thought that something was wrong with me, but now everybody can see it. Like there's something wrong with me in the world. I'm ugly. And of course that wasn't the orthodontist's intention, of course not. And so from that day forward, I saw myself differently. And there's a happy ending. There's a very happy ending. But that was a pretty traumatic experience, and it shaped so much of my life. I mean, it had me go into dentistry. So I had braces. I had braces twice. The second time was to prepare for my jaw surgery. As the story goes on, my jaw surgery relapsed. There's much more to it. But from age 11 to 18, I had this experience in the dental chair as a patient of, changing the way I looked, changing my appearance, and having the experience at 18 years old of coming out of that surgery and looking at myself in the mirror and going, okay, I might be okay now. I felt my self-confidence went way, way up. I mean, I felt like everything was okay. And so from that moment, and probably a little bit from the orthodontist, like I loved my orthodontist and my experience in the orthodontist as well. But I know after my jaw surgery, it was like, I want to do this for other people. I want to heal. I want to heal this pain for other people. I want to have people love themselves and feel good about themselves. And so my mission from the beginning was to change people's lives. I mean, that was like from the moment I went into dentistry, that's what drew me to it.
Wow.
So you can kind of see how that would take me into a comprehensive, restorative, life-changing dentistry, and then kind of took me in the behavioral direction. So is there more you want me to say about that? That's sort of the foundational, journey.
And tell us about the practice that you built.
So I'll just say I became a very versed high achiever, which I'm sure many of you can relate to. But I got out of school believing that, I had to be the best and I had to prove myself and I had to become competent, which I do believe is important. I do believe excellence is important. And I believe when we're doing that kind of dentistry, it's extraordinarily important, to know what we're doing and be able to execute those details and to be able to communicate with our patients proficiently.
Yeah.
So I just educated myself. It's really, I could make this a really long story, but I was very touched very young in my practice by a consultant and who introduced me to Frank Spear, literally the first year out of practice. Frank was like my hero for my first, 5, 6, 7 years in practice. And then I went to Dawson Pankey. It was just this search for extraordinary competency. And there was more underneath that, that's what I kind of want to get into. But yeah, I built a restorative and aesthetic practice from scratch, right out of dental school. I loved it. Again, it was about changing people's lives. It was about changing my patients' lives and my team's lives. So we were really building something together.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it was a ball. I got exposed and had been blessed with so many amazing teachers in dentistry from, clinical to, I know you've had Mary and Joan on here and, the behavioral masters in our profession.
Yeah. It's a behavioral thing that does it for me day in and day out.
Yeah.
My office, now I'm walking into my office, it's a ghost town. And I feel like a part of me has been temporarily ripped out.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost feel hollow because I don't have that. The dentistry for me is very important.
Mm-hmm.
But what I get in return for the dentistry is, we all have to get paid. We all are here to earn more than we spend.
Yes.
That. But I live for that joy. I live for the look on people's faces.
Yeah.
And behavioral thing, after establishing the connection, after establishing a partnership and not a dependency, when something gets done and it gets done to somebody's joy, that's it for me. That's all.
Yeah. It feeds your soul, right? I totally can relate to that. Yeah.
And my story. I've encountered some tremendous downs.
Yes.
Some tremendous lows, and fought my way through it. Why? Because one, I had to survive, and number two, I like these people I'm working with.
Right.
I like stuff. It's just wonderful. So tell me, let's start talking about resilience.
Okay.
You're an example of it. And I want to talk about resilience as it relates to both of us And then let's talk about resilience, as we are going to very badly need. As and I'm using the phrase, it's kind of a trademark phrase, coming out of the belly of the beast, because that's where we are right now. We're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel, just a little speck of light. But we're
Yes.
resilience. So, Master.
Okay, I want to say I did prepare some notes, which I have right here.
Okay.
And I don't have to follow them exactly, but I just wanted to, kind of keep myself on track. If anybody has a question,
Please.
please ask it. Alan, please ask it. We can go wherever this wants to go. My intention is for this to be fun. My intention is for this to be, helpful, like to walk away today with some understanding and some useful things that people can do. So, I was sharing about my practice, and I just want to say about 10 years into building this amazing practice, I had this experience of feeling like, kind of like, is this all there is? Like, okay, so I'm doing everything right. I'm working my ass off, excuse me, but I'm like, I just told you all the CE I went to in the first, however, you can just see that I was just like blazing this trail, and creating this thing. And just about 10 years in, it was like I took a breath and I was kind of looking at where I'd been and where I was going. And something just like, there was a question bubbling up. And the question was kind of like, what the heck is going on here? I'm doing everything right. I'm doing what people are telling me. I've got my vision. I've got my team. I'm doing everything right. And I'm not feeling happy. I'm not feeling the satisfaction that I thought I would feel when I, built this thing, when I started building this thing. And I was getting pretty close to that vision that I had created. I mean, we were practicing that kind of dentistry, and I was doing what I set out to do day in and day out. And I didn't feel, I mean, I loved the patients, but there was something that I was wanting to feel, that fulfillment that I really wasn't feeling. That's relatable to everybody, isn't it? Like, even if it's not in your practice, in your life, we can all relate, I think, to that experience of going after something and getting it, and then being like, this isn't like, what's next? There's got to be more. What's next? So, so in that time frame, I started really deep diving into psychology and philosophy and spirituality, and I started working with different kinds of coaches to help me with this question, like, why am I not happy? And I'll say what I think, looking back now, how the biggest sort of grabbed my attention, like, look here, was this conversation about unconscious beliefs and how our unconscious beliefs drive our life. Like, and so I don't think I fully understood it back then, but I felt like, my gosh, I've got to figure out what this is that's driving me, that's creating this. And so I went on this quest. And, I think we can all relate. We said that thing about, when I get there, I'll be happy. When I, when I get that great practice, then I'll feel good enough. When I learn how to do a big case, start to finish, and I can execute it well, then I'll be, whatever level. But there was always more, and there was something below the surface driving me, and I did not know what it was. And it was this unmet need, and this unmet, this subconscious belief that there was something wrong with me and I wasn't good enough.
This was all the while you were building a loving, respectful, successful, technically spot on, happy practice.
So
practice.
This, and even kind of a more recent awareness, is this dance, that this amazing human that we are, is this, like, in just this big, it's like a ball of things. And so it would just, right now I'm saying, okay, well, there were these needs, and there were my values and my mission. And so there's this lovely pulling me, saying, create this amazing practice and change these people's lives, and this beautiful pull, and at the same time there was this driving unmet need, this need to feel okay, this need to feel competent, this need to prove myself to myself and others. And I really, I honest to God, don't think I don't know, I just think there are a few humans that escape that. If we dive in and really look, that somewhere below the surface, there's something driving us. And most of the time we're not aware of it. Does that feel true? Can you?
I don't see much from our viewers, but you know enough of my story to know that my resilience caused me to discover why I'm here.
Yeah.
And we're very close in what we're believing. It took me a tremendous trauma falling on my face and dusting myself off and finding a better version of myself and really connecting with what I want to do with my life. And I'm a little older than you, and I really don't care.
Yeah.
I'll outrun you. I'll outplank you. And if you're not careful, I'll outtalk you. So talking, Doc.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that.
So,
but yeah.
So you dug deep with a little help from friends, not alone, because we don't do this alone.
Yes.
From a consultant, a coach, or even a therapist, or any combination thereof. I think.
Yeah, I had a combination of all of the above. Yeah.
Me too. I think that Brene Brownism, I'm imperfect, I'm quite enough, and at the same time, use that vulnerability, use that weakness to pick up some strength.
Yeah.
That's resilience.
Yes. I'm so excited because you said something a minute ago that leads us right into what I want to talk about next. Before I do that, I'm going to share a quote, and I think this is sort of like if there's a bottom line. I don't know if there is one bottom line. There's probably multiple bottom lines, but I'm going to share this quote by Sandra Ann Taylor. She's got several books. I didn't read the book. I just saw the quote and liked it and thought this would be perfect to share. Super simple. You must have goals. To me, that's like the vision. You must have goals, but your happiness cannot be tied to these goals.
Yes.
So that's what I want to talk about. And that's what, when I talked about resilience, I'm going to share this model with you that let me pull this up and make sure you can see it, Alan.
Let's try. We tried it before. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see the drawings. There's no, just for the listeners, there's no writing on there. This is
there's no lighting.
A circle and a diamond and some squiggles.
Okay. So there is what I want. I'm going to just kind of share this model was, I heard it from Michael Neal, who's an author, and I follow some of his stuff, and he's given me permission to share this because I use it a lot, and I use it in many different ways. So I sort of have expanded on it, but this inner diamond, I'm going to define that as who we really are. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like we show up on the planet, however you believe that happens. We're born and we show up here and we're this, however you want to think of it. I don't know that any of us actually know the truth of who we are. I don't know when we will know that, but there is a pure being connected to all that is, connected to our own wisdom, pure expression, pure love. Like if I were to describe my version of what my true self is or what I believe it is at this point, those are the words I would use. Potential, infinite potential. Do you have some words, Alan, for what, like, if this is your true self, what does that represent?
For myself?
Yeah.
For myself personally, it's very deep. It's very deep, and I've expressed it a lot, that there's a lot of pain in dentistry.
Yeah.
Amongst our colleagues. And that pain ranges from mild irritation to financial anxiety, to defensiveness over what we're doing, to, God forbid, what our dear friend Andrea went through.
Yes.
From suicide. And my inner self, I know that I am here to ease that pain because I lived it.
I
I-
love this. Me too.
I lived-
Yes.
I'm the son of a Holocaust survivor. You know that.
Yeah.
The demons that haunted my mother every day of her life. And I am hell-bent on making an impact on those who are hurting, those who are adrift, to go back to their own little diamond and try and build a life around that little diamond.
Yes.
I'm hell-bent on that, as you are.
Yes. I'm so excited you said that because to me, I hope this blows your mind because it did mine. So I'm going to keep going. Okay. Because I love that you just said that.
There is a question up here.
Okay.
Pause for a question for just a moment before I get my own customized coaching session in front of all of. So somebody is asking me, how does an individual who's persevered, triumphed, been driven, but reaches a point of running out of gas, what does that person do?
Okay.
That's your,
Can you, so I would like for that person to hold that question.
mhm.
And Alan and whoever asked that question, if we don't semi-answer that by the end of this, I would love to have a conversation with you at the end, but I really think that there will be a perspective shift that's sort of like a bigger point of view. So that question is very there. It's a particular experience, right?
You know who asked? That was John Barkley, Bob Barkley.
Oh. Hi, John Barkley. Cool. Okay, let me keep going. And John, if that question, if it let's, I want to check back in with you. I do not want to forget. So Alan, help me remember. Okay.
You never forget John Barkley. Go
Okay,
ahead.
John Barkley, please come back and ask it if it doesn't feel like there's a different context that I see that question maybe through a different lens, and I want to share the lens that I see it through. Okay. So diamond, true self. Okay. Ages, we all sort of know how the mind works. So forgive me for just restating for just a second. I think a lot of people already know this, but please hear it with fresh beginner's ears. So we're born this way, pure love, however we believe that. And then 0 through 7, we start hearing, seeing, experiencing, being told things, making up meanings for things. And all of a sudden we've got these ideas about ourselves, other people, the world. There's something wrong with me. I shared that one. I had that one. I don't know when that came about, but it was in my face, at 11 years old in the orthodontist. Something wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy. I'm ugly. I'm fat. I'm stupid. I'm broken. I mean, we could name hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands probably.
Yep.
The world's not safe. Now there's positive as well. Okay. There's positive as well. And I don't want to, there's positive as well, but the ones that really, we just talked about unmet needs.
Yeah.
Generally the ones that are driving the boat are the ones that are negative. Okay. We just, the fear of pain, the fear, the protective mechanism is stronger than the pleasure.
The amygdala is stronger than the prefrontal cortex.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we have these ideas 0 to 7 and beyond, because things happen to us as we get older that are new traumas, new experiences that create new ideas. Most of our life, though, is these ideas recycled over and over again. Evidence. Our brain knows how to filter everything out that doesn't fit what we believe and filter everything in that does. Like ignore that. Our brain knows exactly what to do, and we just keep. This becomes our truth. And I just want to say it's not the truth. But let's say this is the truth of who we really are. This is the truth of who we think we are.
Yep.
This is who we believe we are. This is who we believe others are. This is who we believe the world is. Okay. That was created not by us consciously, but by us unconsciously. Can you see that?
It's kind of imprinted into us.
It is imprinted into us. But at some level, even though 0 to 7, they say we are wide open. We have no ability to really filter things out or say no to them. It just it's just being inserted into our subconscious brain on some level. At some point in time, though, we did agree with it. We did say, yes, I am not good enough. Yes, there is something wrong with me, or we made up the meaning and it became so for us.
Yeah.
So, and there's power in seeing that, because I think the power is once we see that on some level we created this, we can take our power back to change what we've created. So to me, that's super important. So there's that. So there's this layer. Does that all feel so far clear? Good? Make sense?
Viewers out there, John or anybody else, it's 100% to me. I relate to it totally. You're
Cool.
talking about my development.
Okay. This to me is a human thing, right?
Oh yeah.
So then we have all these things. And again, we're talking mostly about the negative. So let's say there's something wrong with me. That was one of my many. I recently did an exercise, and I've done a lot of work on myself. My coach gave me the exercise to write out any little negative listening that I have for myself when everywhere I go, and there were still a bunch of them there. I don't know that they just ever go away, but we can decrease the effect that this is having on us, and that's what we're going to talk about.
It's the wiring. It
is wired, yeah.
And John Barkley gave us a thumbs up, so we're
okay. Cool.
John
cool.
connected.
Okay, cool. So we've got this, who we really are, who we think we are, and then the pink is the nail polish that we put on top of this poop, this junk that we made up, and then this is the gap from who we think we are to who we want to be.
Yeah.
And this is where self-improvement is. This is what we're doing when I can say for myself, I can't say everybody, but for me, most of my life was spent trying to fix, change, improve, look better, feel better, appear better to other people, whatever I had to do to get over these things that I either thought were true about me or I was afraid might be true about me.
Allison, is that a possible source of imposter syndrome?
Just tell me what you're seeing. I think for sure, but yes, tell me what you're seeing while you're asking.
And not just when somebody walks into a situation and they are counted on to do something, whether it's coaching, whether it's doing that preparation, whether it's analyzing that big case. You say, who the hell am I? I'm in New Jersey. You could say ass, I could say hell. In fact, I could say a lot worse than that, but I won't. But who am I to be doing it? Do I really know what in the world? Because something inside of here, those blue squiggles are saying, no. And I know it's not me because I've spoken to, like you, I've spoken to hundreds of dentists and non-dentists. And I have that. That is the way I'm hearing you. That's likely a source of.
It totally is. I'll tell you how that lives for me. And I think it's kind of how it lives for everybody. So we have these beliefs, right? And the belief exists below the surface. And then we go out and we try to change, fix, and improve ourselves to prove that that thing's not true. Yeah. But everything we're doing to prove that that's not true is coming from that underlying fear that it might be true. Like the belief is still there.
Yeah.
So no matter how good we get, no matter how perfect our crown prep is, no matter how good our communication is, if we don't heal that core belief, if we don't see it, if we don't understand that we created it and we can change it. And I really want to get to the part where we talk about how to change it. But if we don't go to the source, the core of the behaviors that we're doing to try to, it's all coming from that core belief. If we don't get to that, nothing's going to fill that hole. So yes, we have this belief about ourselves, and then we go out and do these great things. And I think at some point we might think that it's helping, but underneath there's always that little voice, that little, thing that sort of the original creation of whatever that is. Like, oh no, who am I? Or I don't really know. Or how can somebody who doesn't have it all figured out be able to help somebody else? Whatever that is, but yes. So 100% on, Alan, 100% on. So this is where most people work. They're working with, oh, this is who I think I am. This is the truth. We think this is the truth about who we are, and we're constantly trying to manage that. And what I've discovered for me is that this model hasn't really worked for me. What is working and how I see my role now as a coach, and I'm moving into more teaching and that kind of thing, is my role is to help people remember this.
Yes.
Not so, and actually remember this and keep reminding them that this part out here was at some point made up. It doesn't mean that we don't go into our neural path. Like, it doesn't mean that it doesn't still live in us, and there's work to be done there. We can change this, but it's taking ownership and on some level responsibility, which I'm not saying we're responsible for it, because again, we were programmed. But if we take back, I'm going to use the word responsibility as the ability to respond.
Very good.
We have the power to change this. We're not a victim to it.
Correct.
So this programming exists. It runs our life right now. However, we can, I know I'm like in the screen, out of the screen, but
That's all right.
We can change it. And that's what I want people to know. There is a truth about who we really are. It's not this. This still lives, but we have the power to shift these ideas about ourselves and just keep getting the ideas that we have closer and closer to the truth of who we really are.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what I see my job now. Much different than, oh, you're not good enough or you're not this. Well, let's fix that. Let's try to make you feel good enough. Let's try to make you look better, feel better, become more competent. What that's doing is acknowledging that idea you have about yourself is true. And it's just an idea.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be the idea that we keep. So how's this? Did that blow your mind? I was hoping it kind of would.
Yeah, you are. I'm trying not to because you have a lot to do and I don't want to sidetrack you, but that has been the story of most of my life and most of my career. And I didn't discover it quite as deeply as you. I had PMD. I suffered from a severe case of PMD, perpetually miserable dentist.
Oh, yes. Well, I have PMH, which is perpetual miserable human. Well, I had
there you go.
Up until
I have another
a few
one
years ago.
Yeah. But again, these are really deep truths, and I can't tell you how many times I have done whatever it was in dentistry, a procedure, a case, whatever, and I blasted myself inside with a smile on my face.
Yeah.
And this work is not going to be something that LD Pankey would approve of, not by any means. And oh my God, what did I do here? And put the case.
Yes.
Hey.
That creates your whole experience, right?
Yeah. It can foul up your experience.
Yes.
Underneath the success is that little element of I'm an imposter.
Yeah.
No, I am this and not that. Yeah.
Well, you talk about, joy, seeking joy, and that will rob you of your joy. I mean, every moment, this little voice, these little ideas, these little demons, I don't know what you want to call them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those will steal your joy. They do it all day most human beings have it in some way, shape, or form.
For me, it was coming to reading and really paying attention to Brene Brown.
Yeah.
Imperfect, I am enough.
Yes.
What motivates me, what I am, and what you listeners are, is much more important than anything else on the outside.
Right.
Who are you? What's driving you? And are you fulfilling it? And get that blue swiggly crap.
And I think that this search of me trying to fix myself, whatever, finally turned into who am I really, and why am I here? And this we can only answer that for ourselves. I can share my ideas or whatever, and obviously these are all my ideas, but I can share my ideas about who I think I am. But only we are here. We are here to discover our own who we really are. And that's what I really think. And this right here, all this stuff is not who we really are.
That's right.
It's not.
That's right.
So we get to choose. So this thing about our power, I'm going to get into some things that you can do to start to create something different for yourself, some new ideas. But I want to say this is really it. There's kind of three pieces to this. One is choosing to take ownership and to have agency in this, to not say, oh, I'm a victim to my subconscious program, or I can't help it, or I can't, that's the first thing, is to say, gosh, I can tell you, Alan, I don't know if you have this, but I think so many kids, and if you had any kind of trauma in your life, being wrong, being to blame, being responsible, those words can just be I don't want that. I don't want to feel that feeling of, I didn't do this. This isn't my fault. I don't want to take responsibility for that. It's not about blame. It's about power. It's about choice. It's about freedom in the moment. And as long as this stuff is running the show, no matter how much we think we're choosing freely, we're not. Even a reaction to something, we're a rebel. I lived in this rebel thing for a long time as a kid, but it was still a reaction. It was just, instead of doing what they told me, I did the opposite. It wasn't a conscious decision about what I really wanted. It was a reaction.
I grew up in the Vietnam era.
Yeah.
Where we just went out and protested, whether it was right or whether it was wrong, or whether the techniques we used were appropriate or inappropriate. We just got out there because that's what we thought was the appropriate thing to do. And from my experience in looking back, oh my God, almost 50 years. Did I say 50? Oh my God. That may not have been a true reflection of who I was in my core.
Right.
Yeah, I was presenting something based on that, in today's words, fake news.
Yes. And we all do it. And that's why, it's just so interesting in this time, the amount of judgment and stuff, but so much of what we think is our opinion is coming from this. Yeah. And if we would just stop for a minute and question, what's the truth? What's the truth? What do I really believe? It's not some recycled voice that we, I think we'll get to a place where the world in general is going to be much better. But certainly, these things that I'm talking about, even if it's just your personal well-being, that's worth it. But then your well-being resonates out and emanates out from you to the people that are close to you. And then that emanates out, our vibration, whatever you want to call it, our state of being, our state of happiness, well-being, that affects a lot of things. Yeah. There are many studies now that say the most successful people are actually the happiest. They can say that when people are happier, they're more productive. When people are happier, they experience more fulfillment. It's not that it depends on how I'm going to take back the word success, but they've tied productivity and many other things to this ability to be happy in the moment. And to me, there's two things that enable us to be happy. It's this idea of having a choice in the moment, and this idea of being able to go back to our well-being. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit, these two things, and this will lead us into the tools I want to share. So the power we have to choose is in two areas. We have the ability to become more conscious in the moment. People do breath work and meditation and different things to become more conscious and aware in the moment. But we also have the power to reprogram our subconscious mind. And to me, that's the more powerful. I'm doing both. I'm working on becoming more conscious. But, and when I'm not conscious, I'd love for my safety net to be that my subconscious knows exactly what I want to create and is not doing this stuff. Yeah. So I think it's both, becoming more conscious, becoming more aware, doing things, making conscious choices in the moment. But man, when our brain, our neural pathways take over, we want them to be moving us toward what we want. So in my opinion, another part of our power is reprogramming our subconscious mind, which I think is even more powerful. And then the second thing is just understanding that this well-being, this center core, what I think exists in here is peace and love and gratitude and bliss, whatever, happiness, whatever your version of that is, contentment, peace, freedom, it's all in here. And we can access it at any moment. It's always there. Guess what keeps us from that, Alan? Guess what keeps us out of this?
The blue stuff.
Exactly. Right? So if we're working on our power and changing our conscious and our subconscious programming, and we're remembering our well-being whenever we can, and we're just like, we're kind of working at it from both angles, we can access that well-being more and more, which to me, when we're in that state of well-being, we are resilient. We are resourceful. We can choose from a different place when we're not being run by all these fears and scarcity and these ideas that we have,
Mm-hmm. And the end product of that is finding your real purpose.
The end product of that is finding
the purpose that is who you are in that little white diamond.
Yeah.
You could tune into that like you did, like I'm doing.
Yes.
Sudden, what I'm reading from you, life gets a hell of a lot better.
It does.
And
it does.
New Jersey, what can I tell you?
And there's layers, right? Just when I think I've got it, it's like, oh, wait a minute, that was another layer of blue stuff. Or like, okay, there's still, it's just, I feel today obviously more and more connected to the essence of who I am and my purpose and I think there's still some of this stuff there, right? So it's just always a never ending. Yeah.
Always will be. It's just nothing you can do except fight it.
Yeah. Well, your book, Enjoy the Ride, is so cool because to me, it speaks to this. Like in order to enjoy the ride, here are my 3 steps to enjoying the ride. One is remember that we have the ability to respond. We have some power in this moment to make a conscious choice. We also have power to decide ahead of time and reprogram our subconscious mind. Number 2, remember our well-being. Just if at all, when you can, when you're out of that fear or whatever, or even if you're in the fear, if you just take a deep breath, there are so many things. Take a shower, get in the ocean, meditate, take a nap, whatever.
Plank for 10 minutes.
Plank for 10 minutes, like get yourself out of that part of your mind that is running that and bring yourself back to your center. Even if it's just for a second, you can always connect to that well-being. And then the other piece to enjoying the ride is being kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And gosh, while we're learning and growing, and especially Alan, you and I, and these people who, want to be these exceptional dentists, there is something that we can do to ourselves. So type A, perfectionist, comparing ourselves. I'm never going to, just when I think I've gotten there, if there's something else, there's this way of being that can create so much not fun, and just this, being kind as we're learning, being okay with where we are, and it not like a mental exercise, but really, we are human. We are not perfect. I know you know this, but there's just, let me see if there's something I want to say. It's really about compassionate curiosity. Like, how can I learn and grow and be curious and want to be more aware? And when I become aware, love myself. There's a gap between where I am and where I want to be, or there's a gap. Maybe I'm still in this programming, or maybe I can't remember my well-being right now. Or there's a loving myself in that process, in the mess of it.
Yep. I think the phrase that I like to use, and by the way, Christine Shigaki is here with us.
Oh, hi, Christine.
And Bob Pick is here with us. We got some good
Bob.
Here. I don't know who else is here, but we're in good company. I like to use the phrase, don't allow your imperfections or your perceived imperfections to define you, allow them to challenge you
Mm-hmm.
and try to
Beautiful.
enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Try to enjoy, and it's hard. This is not easy stuff.
No.
It's like working out and attaining, a good percent body fat or a good physique or a good muscle tone. You got to work on this.
Yeah. Well, this is also about gratitude and celebration. And I know that we have a dog that we're training. Training our mind is like training our dog. We have to remind ourselves who we are and what we want. Who we are
Yep.
and what we want. Tell our mind this is who I am. I'm in charge, and this is what I want all the time. But my dog, why was I going to share with you about my dog? Because that wasn't it. But it was about compassionate curiosity. It was about loving yourself in the moment. Dang it. It went away. Okay, so I'll just love myself in this moment as I forget what I was going to say.
That's it. You're not perfect. Get over it.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just really, it's a practice of being so kind to ourselves. Like, oh, I know what it is. We tried to train her not to chase cars. And it was almost like the harder we pulled on that leash, the more we yelled at her, it almost created the opposite. The more we push against something, the more it pushes back.
Mm-hmm.
And when we started giving her treats, and this is the same with our own life, we think we have to push ourselves to make something happen. And we think if we're too kind to ourselves, then we're not going to do anything. That's not so. We can grow and evolve and thrive in a sea of love.
Yeah.
And I would even suggest that we will grow and thrive and survive in a sea of love way better than we will in a sea of criticism. And, yeah. So, think about what happens when someone feels safe. Can you create that safety inside yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. So what were you going to say?
Most of my life I couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. We just don't know how. So
don't anybody think that Allison or I were born with this.
No. I think
PMD,
this
PMH.
Let me go. Just for this quick second, I promise my next thing is to go to these little steps to help you. The orthodontist story is a perfect example. Just a quick, like if I go back through my whole life and I say, okay, 11 years old, I created this idea of who I was, like there's something wrong with me. And I have spent my entire life, I'm 51 years old. I know women don't like to share their age, but I don't care. I'm 51 years old. So I've spent 40 years and probably longer because I think I had I'm not good enough. There's something wrong with me before that. Because that orthodontist, I don't think the orthodontist appointment caused it. I think it just re-triggered it and made it stronger. But I've just look at where it led me. Look at this journey. Did I enjoy the whole thing? No. A lot of it I did not. But can I look back on the whole thing with so much gratitude and say that no matter what I went through, it all led me to where I am today, and I'm grateful for it in that way.
Man, are we spot on?
Yes.
I've made so many mistakes, and it cost me a fortune.
Yeah.
A material fortune and an emotional fortune. And the things that happen to me, people will shake their head and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry." No. It made me what I am today.
Yes.
And I kind of like where I am. And I don't know if you or I would even be where we are.
No way.
For that. So we chose the route, knowingly or unknowingly, because this stuff you're showing us is very enlightened, sophisticated stuff. But we somehow were able to make that choice.
Yes.
To not go in the direction of blame and victim and, oh, woe is me, but rather, what am I going to do here about this, and how am I going to use this stuff to not only find what I am truly, but to make life a little bit better?
Yeah. And are we okay if we run a few minutes over, Alan?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a few things that I want to still say, but I want to say to what you just said, there's something about perspective. And, with this coronavirus and everything, not only do we have this opportunity to recreate our beliefs and ideas, but we have the opportunity to create the context for what's happening. So it's it's actually pretty powerful. Like, wouldn't it be amazing if we could go back in time, Alan, and instead of, I don't know how to explain it using that, but let's just say if I had the context all the way along that I was actually okay. Like if I knew this back then, I wouldn't have had to go through the pain and the ups and downs.
Right.
But I didn't. So I went through it. But now, if even for a moment, anybody that's watching, or now that we know these things, Alan, we can step back for a second. And this is related to coronavirus. We can step back. We're watching a video where we're, being told things by people. We've got all this stuff going on. We have an opportunity to step back and choose what that lives inside of. Am I just going to, who am I in this, and where's my choice, and what I get to choose the context, and I get to choose what I let in, and I get we get to choose so much more than we think we do.
Yeah.
And then we get to choose what context how are we now going to take this and make something good from it? Because I can guarantee you, I think I can guarantee you, I think I can say almost everything in my life, and if I haven't discovered it now, I believe that I will, that I thought was bad. Somewhere down the road, I could see that it was not, that there was something good, like we just talked about our journeys, right?
Yep.
So can we now, in the midst of something hard, create a context now without having to wait 10 years and saying, oh my gosh, coronavirus was the best thing that ever happened to my practice? Or 5 years from now, or 3 years, how can we create that context for ourselves? I don't have an answer to that, but it's a good question.
And that really, that's a subject to cover not only with yourself, but I think I was talking to Jim Schultz, who's the New Jersey Dental Association lobbyist, 2 hours ago. And it is time to use those principles now with our teams.
For sure. And our patients.
Sharing that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've got to get on board with this and understand that we are okay and that our mission is true.
Yes.
And apply those principles immediately, because we're going to emerge from this in a few weeks, and for some parts of the country in a few days. And I think to relieve the anxiety both inside of us and inside of our team and inside of our patients, we got to start first in here and in here.
Yeah.
Start to transmit that so we can create that vision.
Yes. What story are we telling ourselves? We don't have to tell that story. This is this. Right now, we're creating a new idea, a new belief about what's happening. We don't have to believe. We get to choose the story that we're telling ourselves. We get to choose the story, because otherwise our staff's going to make up their own stories.
Yeah.
And our patients are going to make up their own stories. And we have the opportunity to create a context and a story for them.
Yeah. And the part that I find difficult, and again, I have until about 4:15. I have until about 15 minutes after the hour.
Oh, yeah, we'll be fine. I'm
Okay.
close to
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Now I lost it.
We're talking about the story that we tell in the context.
Yeah, I think what's happening to so many of us is that we are hearing so much, we are getting so much blue junk
Yes.
into us now by the news, by people who are saying your practice is going to fail if X% of practices are going to fail. We're going to have to change the way we practice. We're going to slow down. We're not going to make as much, and this and that. And we can't allow that to create blue stuff.
Right.
Outside of our white diamond. We just gotta say no to that.
Yes.
Focus on the inner true mission that reflects your inner true self, that hopefully your team is on board with you. Hopefully you've got a team that also shares the value.
Yes.
And also shares the self-esteem and self-efficacy.
Yeah, I think it's how it lives in my head right now is like finding where am I going to stand? I'm going to stand in that this is happening for me. I'm going to stand that I get to create, like some we now got to put together where we stand. And I do think it's our missions and our values and all of those things that we have that are our core philosophies. But we get to choose, like, all of the stuff that's coming in. I was telling Alan before we got on this call, I'm very careful about what I listen to and how I listen to it. And I don't let in stuff that doesn't fit with the world that I want to experience. It's not like I'm naive. It's just, okay, so this is what's happening. This is happening. It's real. Some of it, like there's a truth, and then there's all the stories about the truth. So what's the real, the facts as we know them is there is a coronavirus. Whatever the facts are, and then we get to decide beyond that what we do with that and how we address it and how we speak about it to our team and how we lead ourselves and our team and our patients out of this and through this. And I think there's something to be said for authenticity. And I mean, I know you're that way, Alan, and probably most of the people that are on here are okay with saying, I don't know what's going to happen. That's a scary place for humans to be. That's why we have all this stuff, because we want to, like, we grab a hold of stuff, we make it mean something, then we understand it, then we can do something about it. And that feels good to people. But there is something for being in the space of unknown and being in a question and maybe collaborating with our team about what we're creating and, whatever. But there's something about being okay, not grabbing onto ideas that don't serve.
Yeah. I go ahead with your tools that you want to show.
Let me do that. So
I have a couple of other ideas that I want to throw at you, but let's get your stuff done because it's too important.
Perfect. Okay, so just a few things. So I talked earlier about reprogram your subconscious mind. So now I've gotten this out of books, I've gotten this from some mentors, and I've just put this together into a brief, simple thing. I can answer questions. If anybody wants to tag me, on this post later, if you have questions, if you tag me later, I'll come back and answer them. But basically, this is kind of like creating a vision or a mission or a philosophy for your practice. And you can do it this way if you want to. You can pull out these non-serving beliefs about yourself. You can actually look and say, all right, what am I walking around with? What ideas am I walking around with that are totally sabotaging me, that are totally, like questioning myself as a leader, or like whatever those beliefs are. Some of mine were about not trusting myself. Some of those were about, how I saw my body, or like whatever. Relationships, how I relate to people, whatever ideas that are not serving you. Now, what you want to do is create a list of ideas that you want to live by. So people might call these affirmations, and I don't really want that to be what this is. How I see this is this is the way I was taught to do this. Basically saying, this is an idea I created. I forgive myself for creating the idea that I'm not good enough. For I know the truth is, and then insert the truth. And the truth's going to be, I am perfect and whole exactly as I am, no matter, whatever it is. The words will come, but they will come from out of the forgiveness, the realization that I created this in the first place, and the forgiveness of myself for creating this, and then the truth. That's the more powerful way to do it. An affirmation, you can do that. You can just create some power statements that you want to live by and say them over and over and over and over to yourself. But does that make sense what I'm saying, Alan? Like, acknowledge.
Oh God, yes.
Okay.
God, yes.
Acknowledge I created it, forgive myself for creating it, and choose the new. Hear the truth about yourself. Now the job starts, because once you get that list, I've got 23 right now. Once you get your list of new truths, this is your life now. I wake up in the morning, I listen to myself audio recorded. I spoke them into an audio recorder. I listen to them every morning, multiple times. I listen to them at night. I say them out loud at night. I write them. I choose one a day. This is actually scientifically proven, just so you know. Speaking them in the morning, as soon as you wake up, when your subconscious mind you're like not quite awake yet. You're sort of in that state between awake and asleep. And right before you go to bed is also when it gets the most easily inserted into your subconscious mind. Also when you're hypnotized, if you want to go get hypnotized. But there's that theta state, I think, is the brainwave state, where right before sleep and right when you wake up. where your brain, your mind will let these things in more easily. So you're literally just, and if during the day you do something, so what's going to happen, and what I'm experiencing is that I say this morning and night, I listen to myself audio recorded, I write the same, pick one a day and write it over and over and over all day long. If you want to put it on sticky notes, whatever that one truth is that you choose, each day is dedicated to one of them, and you're just like getting it into your bones, getting into your body. Then as it gets more integrated, you will start speaking and acting and being more aligned with that. There's more to this, but I'm just giving you sort of, I can promise you, if you really do the work and you write it and you speak it and you speak it out loud to yourself, it will become part of who you are. It will, let's just say the old programming is red and the new programming is yellow. It's going to be more red than yellow for a while. And then it's going to become sort of an orange color where the red is still kind of winning, but the yellow is starting to eventually you will hit a tipping point where the new stuff is becoming more automatic. It's kind of moving from that unconscious incompetence to, you go through that phase where it takes effort to get these things into our subconscious mind, while at the same time trying to be more conscious. But this thing, it works because it helps you become more conscious also, because you're going to notice when you're not being it. Because you're saying, I am kind. And then you kick the dog, which nobody here would do that. But just, an example of let's say you're not very kind to your spouse. You can forgive in that moment. I am kind. Don't take it away from yourself. It just was an old behavior. No, I forgive myself for judging myself as not kind, for I know the truth is I am kind. You just keep going back to this new thing that you're creating. It's going to feel maybe even uncomfortable because these things feel true to you right now, right?
Yes. Oh yeah.
So that's one thing. Obviously any practices you can do to become more conscious and mindful and aware in the moment. That's meditation, that's breathing, that's, and then I just want to add that piece about awareness with love, like all of this done, love and forgive and see your innocence. We are all innocent in this. We did not do this on purpose. This is kind of just what it is to be human. Hi, Chris. I see Chris Alvarado here.
Chris is here. All right.
So there is something with this, the more curious and compassionate and loving we are with ourselves, like as I walk around and I see humans, I'm so much more compassionate with other humans because I can see they're creating their own reality and their own ideas over there. And their ideas feel just as true to them as mine do to me. Yes. And I can be very compassionate and loving about, this human dilemma that we're all in, so that it's beautiful. This place of being loving with yourself and your feelings can be used as kind of a barometer of where you are. I don't want to get too much into that, but if your feelings are an indicator of what you're thinking and what you're believing. It's not always an indicator of the truth, but it is an indicator of what you're believing. So if you're feeling like crap, there's some thought that you have in your mind that's not probably aligned with the truth. So just say that real quick. I think that's really it. Those are kind of the steps. Become more conscious, to reprogram your subconscious mind, write it, read it, speak it, and then your actions will start to be from this place of this new person you're creating yourself to be.
Yeah, and this I believe you really touched me very deeply today. But this I believe is the foundation that is best to be laid even before you set goals.
Yes, for sure.
Then goals become consistent with what that inner white diamond is.
Yes, for sure. Otherwise, as best as you can. You're going to set goals, and some of your goals are going to be coming from this place of not good enough, just kind of like we talked about. But ideally, you would create this well-being, and your goals would come from this sense of well-being. They wouldn't be trying to accomplish the goal to feel okay about yourself, but you would feel okay with yourself, and then you would go out and have, do these things that you're here to do. And I think that's enjoying the ride.
I think what I'm hearing is that self-improvement is an absolutely wonderful thing as long as you're in touch with who yourself is.
Exactly. That's the question. And
Yeah.
that's why know thyself is, that's a wise
Yeah.
know thyself. There's layers.
I've been there, I've done that. I am there just like you, but I know I don't need to, I want to
Right.
into that white diamond and make it even better.
Yes.
And that's the difference between setting a goal of producing X gajillion dollars a year or doing X number of implants, roundhouses, full mouth reconstructions, or whatever floats your boat.
Right.
And the difference of saying, I'm here in this world to do this, and this is how it's going to manifest, and this is how I'm going to do it.
Yeah. It's all, I have this little saying that I know it's going to catch on one day. It's like, it's all about the come from. It's not actually about the behavior. It's not actually about the result. It's all about the come from, because you will enjoy whether you reach the goal or not. If you're coming from a place of well-being, you will have much more of an enjoyable ride than if the come from is I'm not okay, or I got to get something to feel okay. So you and I could be doing the exact same actions, but our come froms could be different, and we would have a way different experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. This was the fastest.
I know. I hope I didn't try to squeeze too much in.
God, no.
Is that okay?
Well, we'll see how many people listen to this, but I think looking at the reactions and, I think I have a feel for what went on in the hour, and wow.
And John Barkley, if you're still there, can you just, the question, how does an individual who has persevered, triumphed, been driven, but reaches a point of running out of gas? I think, let me just say, I think the running out of gas, at least for me, has come from that there's an underlying driver that has me push, like that has me doing things that are coming from a place of, I got exhausted. I got burned out. I was chasing something out there in the world that needed to be dealt with inside of myself.
And
trying say that again.
John gave us a smiley face.
Okay, there. Perfect. So to me, it's that finding what that thing is and learning how to deal with the real cause, which is that inside. It's inside work. The inside job starts on the inside.
And sometimes, more often than not, you need a little help from your friend.
Yes.
So, Allison, the best way to reach you?
Email transformationalpractices@gmail.com. And Facebook is great. I mean, these people are all on Facebook. You can tag me. I think. I mean, even if we're not friends, you should be able to tag me, or Alan can tag me.
Yep. I think I'll take the unmitigated gall to speak for you in a moment.
Okay.
And for both of us, that we are here. If you understand that Allison and I come from the same place, and Allison and I are both devoted to making things better for you. So I think a conversation is something both of us, either one of us, would delight in having with you.
Yeah.
So don't feel inhibited at all. So let us know if we can help.
Yes.
If it's me, it's great. If it's Allison, it's great. It don't matter. As long as you are on the path to finding that diamond, to finding yourself, and to really enjoy the ride is a little self-serving.
Enjoy the ride.
Living a fulfilled life. Somebody loves what you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I see that. I don't know who that's
besides
from.
Me.
Who wrote that? I love what you're doing. Yes, Alan, you're correct about that. And I want to say, if I were to do a little closure, like enjoy the ride. Are we frozen?
No, not at all. You're fine.
Okay, good. Okay. That remember your power. Remember that you have the opportunity to choose.
Yep.
Remember your well-being, and be kind to yourself along the way as you practice these new ways of being, as you learn, as you grow in your leadership. And you are the most important masterpiece that you will ever create. Your practice is not nothing. You are. And your masterpiece of yourself is how you see the world. So if you take the time to create, even if it's a new blue squiggly line or green, like if you look out through a different set of ideas about yourself,
Yeah.
you will see a different world. You will experience a different world, and you can do that.
And how I think that
Yeah.
was our friend Paul who
Hey, Paul.
commented with that.
Okay, well, I don't know which Paul that is, but
I'm pretty, well,
I
actually,
can make a guess.
Paul, I think it's Paul Henny. He usually
Okay,
makes
that's
on these things, but
that would be my guess. Hi, Paul.
Paul, you've been very well behaved today. I do appreciate that. But Paul also is one of the most amazing thinkers
Oh,
that
he's amazing.
we've encountered in our journey. So
Yes,
incredible.
it's been
I don't,
wonderful.
it's been, I don't know how we're going to outdo this, but tomorrow I have Karen Daw, who calls herself the OSHA lady. And I think we're going to have some very timely advice on what we may expect. We don't have all the answers yet, but I think she's going to set us on a path to at least begin thinking this thing through on how to apply some practical stuff as we get out of this nonsense.
Amazing.
It is Paul Henny. We need to talk soon.
Awesome.
Paul, just treat her nicer than you treat me, okay, bud?
Yeah, he's usually pretty nice to me.
Yeah.
So you know what, Alan, I want to say to you, thank you for all you're doing. I absolutely love you, and you have got to be one of the most generous, kindest, just amazing human beings.
Oh, thank you.
I really do. You're amazing, and I thank you for all that you're doing and the difference you're making in dentistry.
I'm here. I would give you a hug if we weren't X thousand miles away, if it weren't illegal because of social distancing. But I owe you one. I owe you one aseptic hug at some point, at some place between New Jersey and Costa Rica.
You owe me nothing. This is a beautiful soul co-creation, and
yeah,
I send you and everybody that's here love, and everybody that listens to the replay. And if anybody wants to get a hold of me, I'm happy to talk.
Don't hesitate to do that, folks. Don't hesitate. You're missing something if you don't. Stay with me for a second.
Okay.
I'll be back tomorrow. I want you to eat right. I want you to live well. Get some exercise, move around, make somebody's life a little bit better today, like Allison did for us. And most importantly, please, Allison with me, enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. Allison, stay with me a second.
Okay.